Good evening. My name is Frank Nave, and I have Willie Harris here and Brother Reginald Petty. Willie and I, we're representing the Art and Talent Development Center, located 4601 State Street in East St. Louis, Illinois. And Brother Petty was gracious enough to invite us into his home, where he's going to share not only the history of East St. Louis, but some cultural tidbits that we think that we need to pass on to the next generation. I think the first thing we want to know from Brother Petty is your life story. Tell us something about you.
Well, I was born and raised in East St. Louis.
Okay.
Even though people forget at the time, the two hospitals in East St. Louis were white only. So all people in my generation, we were conceived in East St. Louis, but most of us were born in Barnes Hospital in St. Louis, and came right back across the river right after that. But I grew up in East St. Louis, went to college at U of I in Carbondale, and I spent about 13 years in Africa with the Peace Corps. I was director of Peace Corps in 4 different countries and spoke 4 languages, and my French is still pretty good. And
Wow.
fortunately, I also met Mandela
Whoa.
while I was in Africa, and I got to know his family and kids, and I bribed the guards to let me come in to see Mandela while he was in prison,
Whoa.
and so that was great. He was very much a fan of Martin Luther King, believe it or not, and so that was a great experience I had, and also. John Lewis says I had the record of 36 arrests in 1 year with stick in Mississippi, just trying to register people to vote. And that was back in the 60s, so 88 years old now, but tried to spend most of my life doing what I could to help people. And so now I'm back home in East St. Louis, and one of my concerns now is so many of the younger people don't know of the history of East St. Louis, and I would compare uh, people from East St. Louis with any major city. I doubt that there are many cities who would say that they have a UN ambassador from East St. Louis, one of the top civil rights activists, the top one in sports, um, and Harry Edwards, and who also can talk about. Obviously, most people would know Miles Davis; they know that name, but they also don't know that one of the classical pianists, I'm blocking on his name right now, from East St. Louis, and just a number of musicians. And when we talk about athletes, there's just so many athletes from East St. Louis. People know Jackie Joyner and her brother and people like that. But again, very few cities would could talk about this number of people. And but unfortunately, a lot of the young people don't know about these people. So I'm hoping that you all will do what you can to get the word on the school curriculum and then to the parents about who we are and what happened in East St. Louis.
Yeah, that classical pianist he was talking about was Eugene Haynes,
Gene Haynes.
who happened to be in the same high school band, to my understanding, with Miles Davis. Miles Davis, of course, went on to national acclaim, and from my understanding, Eugene Haynes had to go to Europe to get recognized because at that time, black classical pianists really weren't being recognized. So, can you give us something about some history about East St. Louis itself, the city?
Well, the city was there were two I guess two villages before East St. Louis, and East St. Louis became, I think it was 1868, I think it was when it actually was the actual birthday. first mayor was a John Bowman, who was the first mayor of East St. Louis. And would you believe, a lot of people don't know, he was assassinated.
Oh,
2 years after he was there, he was assassinated.
that wasn't good.
And John Bowman. And so you got, and East St. Louis was, I think about 28, uh, I think about 28 railroads came through East St. Louis, and it was the largest percentage of railroads, second to Chicago, in terms that actually came through this area. And we had one of the largest stockyards at that time, Armour and Swifts, and there was a third one, Hunter's, yeah, in East St. Louis. So this was a large economic center, and it never reached, I don't think, 100,000 people, but it got into the 80s and 90s. But unfortunately, a lot of the people who were here at that time moved out. A lot of the white community moved out, and the black community who was here at the time, um, a lot of the towns close to here, for example, when people talk about what do they call it now? Um, I guess the taxes that were in East St. Louis. A lot of the villages outside of East St. Louis moved into these other areas. Swansea.
Well,
What
I know the packing house became
What was the name of it?
National City.
National City. Then we had
And
Illuminor.
Monsanto and
That
And what's-
became Sajay.
Sajay was
Sajay,
Illuminor.
yeah. And those were
And-
places that moved because of taxes. They moved into their little area, and this was a tax, should have been a tax thing for East St. Louis, but they created their own little
To keep from paying
little
taxes.
things outside of East St. Louis, and that's a problem right now because these places, have their own little taxes, and not East St. Louis. And so that's been a problem, and even now as we talk about so many of the black heroes, the black people don't live in East St. Louis.
That's
They
true.
moved out to Fairview Heights and live outside, and in the past this would have been taxes, they would have been paying here, and I'm curious now with the new homes that are being built, and I don't know who's going to pay $300
$69,000.
$69,000, but some of these homes that are being built, I don't know how that's going to be handled. But I did find out that one of the guys who built these homes, because of his income, he can write off some of these for taxes, for his own taxes.
I understand he's the head of I think it's called Lincoln Up. No, not Lincoln Up. Lansdowne Up.
Yeah.
Lansdowne Up, which is a nonprofit. So if he donated, it's just me. He may not have done it this way, but if he donated his money to the nonprofit, and then the nonprofit
They can get it off.
can get it off.
The private
This is-
tax roll.
Right,
This is
right.
this is what I heard and he's also the individual who has a lot of those barges.
Oh yeah, he owns all the
Owns
cargo
all those
barges.
barges up and down the river, and so I'm hoping that we can get him to really get serious about helping with some of the nonprofit groups in East St. Louis with his money.
Well, I understand he's friends with Jackie
friends with
Joyner.
Jackie, I think, yeah.
And I understand when the Jackie Joyner Kersey Center was in some financial difficulties, that he actually came to the rescue.
Rescue.
And I don't know what their arrangement is, but technically he saved the Jackie Joyner Center.
But there's so many other nonprofit groups in East St. Louis that
Yes.
could benefit from his amount of money. One of the things I found out too, I've got a list of 26 millionaires from East St. Louis.
I'd like to see that list.
From East St. Louis, and one billionaire. And you may remember the store that used to be across from Dunbar School. This is the girl. This is her parents.
Yeah.
Gloria Goldsman, and she made her first millions in Africa. She was with Shell Oil Company, and she's got a couple of PhDs from John Hopkins and places like that.
Mhm.
And you've got so many of these people like her, and she's a billionaire.
Do you know exactly how she made her money with the African
Well,
nations?
she made her money with the health fields. She set up different nonprofit health organizations in different parts of Africa.
Non-profit.
Yeah, she set up a number of these, and Shell Oil Company helped finance a number of these groups.
Oh.
And she also was one of the founders, the people who organized the what do they call it? The black universities,
Oh, the HBCUs.
HBCUs. Yeah, she's on their boards, and she helped finance a lot of those places. And she does a lot of things around the country. Congressional Black Caucus. She was also one of the people who helped put that together.
Oh,
And
wow.
she sent me a list of a photograph of the current UN ambassador, who's a friend of hers. And often she knows all of the presidents of the countries in Africa, and she's back and forth to Africa at least once a year. So she still goes back.
How
and
many
forth.
languages does she speak?
I know she speaks French and probably three or four. Probably three or four. One of the problems I'm having now, when I talked to McHenry, Ambassador McHenry is on the board of directors of Coca-Cola and Rockefeller and Carnegie Foundation.
Wow.
And he was looking for people, blacks who spoke foreign languages. And I've been getting calls from people looking for blacks who can speak some languages. And it's rare. We can't find many.
Don't teach it.
They don't teach it. And that's one of the things now. There's a fellow I know who's 28. I know his family. He's black. He went to the high school in Belleville, the one in Belleville, and the one that teaches Mandarin Chinese. He learned Mandarin. Yeah, he learned the one up in Belleville. He learned Mandarin Chinese, and last year, now he's 28 years old. Last year, he made $420,000.
I guess we better learn to speak some languages.
$420,000, just languages.
Willie, did you have a comment?
Okay. One of the reasons I think that we are here, you hold a lot of history, and you are the depositor of history of East St. Louis, and your spectrum is very wide. But we was also thinking we are embarking on trying to collect and present the cultural side of it, not so much the political, not that we're against it, but we're taking it one step at a time. And looking at the history of East St. Louis, I always would, in talking to Mr. Nate, I would say that this is the wealthiest poor town probably in the world. It's that we are so wealthy in our historical contributions to this culture of America, and we think that some of the curse that we live under is that we don't recognize how great we are, and we seek out and we go out into other communities trying to assimilate or into their culture while we abandon our own richer culture. Now, our focus has been on trying to recognize some of the less unsung heroes that has contributed in our community. There was a man, I think his catalog as long as anybody, from right here in East St. Louis via Mississippi. His name is Milton Campbell. Mr. Petty, would you know a little bit can you help us with the history, say, of little Milton Campbell?
I don't know. I know who he is. I don't know him, but let me throw a couple of names, a couple of other quick names at you. John Hicks. Does that name ring a bell? Probably doesn't. He was the first black reporter for the Globe Democrat.
Okay.
Oh,
He was also, I bumped into him in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Okay.
He was head of something called the United States Information Service
yeah.
for all of Africa
Wow.
from East St. Louis.
Wow.
John Hicks, first black reporter for the Globe
Okay.
Democrat.
Another diamond from the coal mine.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, sir. Then with Mr. Hicks, do you have the information as to where he was raised in East St. Louis?
He was raised in fact, his sister was the Hicks who was the, was she principal?
I don't
There was a
remember.
lady,
Might have been.
some Hicks.
I remember that name.
Oh gosh, she just died. She was about 100 years old.
Oh,
Hicks.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But Campbell, that family is just so, it's just so many of them.
Okay. Why I asked you the question in that order is that what we intended to do on our agenda, we want to map out this city. It's a different map
Yeah.
that it shows. When I mentioned Milton Campbell, I know where his house was.
Yeah.
Out on Market. I know where Tina Turner's house was out on Virginia Place.
Virginia
I
Place,
I
yeah.
worked on their house.
Okay.
What we wanted to do, our goal is to put some historical markers
Right.
throughout the city, recognizing these spots
Okay.
where greatness came.
Right.
I've also got a list of where Harry Edwards' house was.
That's
Great.
the,
He sent me a picture of his home. I got actually a photograph of what his house was like. You know, dirt. One of the alphabets.
Okay.
You know,
AB out in the South
out
End.
South End.
Yeah, the ABC.
Yeah.
The Alphabet Street.
Oh yeah, I remember those
You know,
those
alphabet
streets. Right.
still
Right.
there. I got a picture of his home.
Okay.
Sent me a picture of his home, and
Well, if you could share that, that would definitely
yeah,
help.
and I'm trying to think of. And Mays' house was down from Tina Turner.
Okay. Joe May.
Brother
Joe
Joe
May,
May on
yeah.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Virginia Place.
Yeah, I think he was like 2 or 3 houses. I think who knows exactly where those places were. Eugene Redmond.
Oh yeah.
But Redmond was photographing a lot of those places.
Yeah. He's historical.
So that's what brings us
Yeah.
to you.
Right.
We want to, and we want to ask you this question too. Do you think, in your opinion, it would make a significant difference for the history of this town? Is that when you walk down, if we could put a plaque out in front of these locations where the lot is empty or whatever it was, throughout the city, to identify where all of this greatness comes from?
It should. It should. That's critical. Yes. I mean, because that way the young people need to know. Another part of what I would include it too. I would also include it in the school curriculum.
Yes, sir. Well, that
These kids
Yeah.
need to know
Yeah.
as a part of when they're teaching,
okay.
Yeah.
such and such a place lived here, such and such a place lived here.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom.
Do they even teach Black history in the schools
But
anymore?
in East St. Louis, They should be
No.
teaching
East
St.
St.
Louis
Louis black
history.
history, right?
Right.
I'm not even sure they teach just general black history anymore.
No, it's not.
And what happened? Why not?
It should be, but that's something that you all are going to have to push with the. Now, I met about a week ago with the curriculum committee, trying to get them to do some of these St. Louis history. But the politics of that, you're going to have to get some of the school board people
Mm-hmm.
to push it, and some of the principals to say, because when I was talking to some of the curriculum people, they were saying, well, the state says that we have to teach,
Right,
have to do this,
right.
and therefore I say, okay, but when you talk about math, why can't you talk about some Black history, some dates? They should know.
Right.
I mean, what East St. Louis birthday? I mean, when was it
Right.
born?
Right.
Who was the first mayor?
Yeah. What about hidden
White and
figures?
black.
Those
The
women
figures.
who
We
without
look-
we could not have done the trip to the moon.
And I talked to people at Roy Young School. Some of the people, kids that didn't know who Roy Young was. And
No,
this
they
is their school. I mean, they're at the school.
That's true.
So a lot of the places where you talk about the kids going to the school, they don't know who the school is named after. Now that is something that to me, with the school curriculum, you should be able to tell the people at the school curriculum. I'm blocking on the lady's name, but it's a couple of people. One lady who's head of, I'm talking about down at the school board.
Right.
She handles curriculum. And there's another lady who's head of the principals. But those are two people who you all need to meet with and say to them, here's where we're going. This needs to be included. And then I would talk to some of the people on the school board and say, okay, hey, look, this is something that's critical, needs to be here.
We both are former educators.
Right.
I taught at the high school. And one of the critical things for success for a student is self-awareness. When a student can feel proud about his own
Right.
person, it reflects in everything he
Right.
does going forward.
Right.
One of the things, excuse me, yeah, one of the things we find is that, like I say, just basic information. You would think they would know, they don't know.
You don't know.
It's just basic. I mean, I mean, Dick Gregory. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you not be dealing with Black history of
Right.
any kind and not know who Dick Gregory,
Gregory is.
You know,
They're not being exposed.
not being exposed again.
Right.
Just the basic Black history, and on the floor. Can he reach that? There's something on the floor.
On the floor
On
there.
the floor, yes.
Oh, that.
No, straight down there. Yeah. Pull that up. Yeah. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about.
Oh. Are they all the same?
And it did this.
Oh,
This was
yeah.
a quilt.
Now, that's the other
We took
thing.
this around. We took this around to the schools. Teachers now didn't know who
You
these
know
people were.
who these people were that you had listed
They're
here.
listed here.
Wow.
Nobody knew who Shirley Chisholm was.
That first black woman run president.
They didn't know who she was.
Yes.
I mean, these are people who you would, huh? We mentioned Core. Didn't know who Core was. We mentioned Snick. What's a Snick? You know. Now, this is the kind of stuff that we all the kids, we took this around to some schools, to some school rooms,
Right.
because we just got a whole bunch of these. I just ran off.
Well, I'm thinking that in our we're going to have other shows that feature diamonds from the coal mine. We might start to highlight some of these people and give their history. At least we can do it over the City of Champions TV station, and it might be a start. You know,
And
especially
you
we
could
can
do-
direct
and
people
you
to
could do
that.
something like this for East St. Louis.
Right.
For East St. Louis people with boom, boom, boom. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's what his TV station is. East St. Louis
Yes, sir. And that is
TV
what
station.
we have so far have put together. We did a kind of thing like this,
Right.
and what it represented was those people who made musical contributions. See, we were playing music.
Right.
Frank is
Right.
a lifelong music vocalist, and he writes a lot of music. Okay, I saw something on Facebook that Julius Hunter, this was back in the 70s or 80s, when Ron Carter and them had won the best jazz band in the nation.
We're traveling Europe.
Traveling Europe.
Right,
Europe.
right here in East St. Louis.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that you don't start on the 10th floor. You work your way up.
Right.
Each floor, each generation rests on the success of the past
Absolutely.
generations. And what is happening is something has knocked the legs off of our young people to where they don't have nothing to stand on to reach the heights, our past great heights that like Lincoln Jazz Band winning the nation championship in that area.
And the choir.
So what we were doing
Yeah,
is
the choir did pretty good
We
too.
won every year.
Yeah.
We won that every year. I was in the choir.
Mhm.
Like, we won the state championships every year.
And see,
With Daisy
now
Daisy
that's
Westbrook,
something I didn't know.
okay.
I knew about the band, but I didn't know about the choir.
We won that thing every
Okay,
year.
that's
Yeah.
in this case, Mr. Petty. You're Dr. Petty.
Just Reggie.
Okay. Okay. If you travel, the surrounding communities like to dump every negative line they can on East St. Louis, and that is not only political, but it's an economic warfare, because if I won't invest, if I can be demoralized about my city, my home, I think less of my neighbors. I
Right?
think less of me,
Yep.
and it's a downward spiral. So what we say is we can stop this. We can change this by putting the greatness markers all over the city and declare this to be the wealthiest, intellectual, and talented city in America. This is the real springboard. Now, people came here from Mississippi.
Sugarlock.
I know I did.
Sugarlock in school.
Right.
That
So,
was my family.
Sugarlock in school, but
We was sitting
that's it.
This is Starkville.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Now, appropriately, I don't know why I end up with this shirt on today.
Yeah.
But
Sugarlock. From Sugarlock.
what we are saying is that we would hope that we can work with you to put this project in motion
Mhm.
to bring that really needed recognition to the city of East St. Louis. And
Have you all talked with Savage, with
Ted, not Ted.
not
Ted.
Ted, the guy who does that IME St. Louis
you're
magazine?
talking about
Oh, Ingram.
Lorenzo.
Ingram.
No, Lorenzo Savage.
Lorenzo.
Oh.
I know Lorenzo.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
you know Lorenzo, yeah.
Right.
He's been trying to do something like this with his magazine.
Right, you do recognize that.
Yeah.
Lorenzo said.
Yeah, I think the magazine, though, the problem is circulation. Not
Yeah.
enough people see it.
That's
Whereas
what
if we're
people
talking
see it,
about signs and
Yeah.
symbols, you're going to pass that every day.
Right.
Eventually, you're going to start asking questions.
Right.
And if you don't ask, the kids are going to start, well, who is James Williams? Why is there a plaque for him?
Yes.
No,
And that's what we want. We
Yeah,
want
what I was saying with him, he's got some names in some of the magazines. Some of
I
these
see.
people
Yeah, he do.
over the time that some names that I didn't know. I mean, they're people who you know, so you can get some of those magazines. And they got some names in the magazine that he's identified,
Mhm.
and they do this thing once a year of a fundraiser thing. But a lot of people around the country get the magazine.
Mhm.
You know, and his wife died. You know,
Oh,
she died.
unfortunate.
Okay.
But but yeah, and also too, you knew Rosser, James Rosser.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I talk to him every now and then.
Okay.
You know, did you know him? No. Rosser. He was president of Cal State Los Angeles.
Okay.
And he was
Very smart man.
Very smart, and he played basketball,
Mm-hmm.
but he's around. He's around. You know, his wife died. You know, his wife, Corman.
I didn't know she
Coleman. You
died.
didn't know, yeah, she died. They did, but she died. But yeah, Russell was one of the millionaires I was talking about. But that
Mm.
list, sure, that
Which
list
list?
I gave you. List of
Oh,
all the
oh,
people.
here. Oh, is this a list of the millionaires?
Yes, a million and some of the
Oh,
other
those are
folks.
the list of the millionaires. Oh.
Okay. Oh, sir.
You see some of the categories
Okay.
that you were
Different-
talking
I
about.
see.
And how they
Education,
made their
business,
millions in
business,
different
yeah.
categories.
Yeah, different categories.
Yeah.
And see, those are some of the folks that exactly who you're talking about. You can find out where they were in East St. Louis.
Right.
Because most of these people are still alive.
Oh, that's good news.
See,
We
so
can
you can
talk to
almost
them.
get in touch with them
Yeah.
and find out, like Kellen Winslow.
Oh, yeah. Tell them. Yeah.
Winslow, yeah. Kellen Winslow.
Attorney Winslow. Isn't he a lawyer
Is he a
now?
lawyer now? Yeah,
I heard that he was a lawyer.
Okay, he may be. Yeah, I got some of the names. You know, some of the names. Some of the people.
Do you have a
Some of the
copy?
athletes.
You have a copy?
It's yours.
He gave that to us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got all people in their different categories and
Mhm.
stuff. You know.
Okay. Sir, in your wide experience and wide connections worldwide, do you know of any uh, organizations or structures that would be approachable in helping a project such as ours?
Yeah, I think what you got to do is to like any of these people on here could fund it. You know,
Yeah, they got that
I
kind
would
of
say
money.
you need to go through some of these and because of some of them you may know.
But some of them are not alive.
Okay,
But some of them are.
some of them are, some are not. Yeah, on this list, yeah, some are not, some are. But you know, I would say take a look at that, like Rosser. You know, some people who you may know is Rosser.
Yeah, you got James Rosser under
yeah.
education.
Who else is under education?
Fanny Brown, Lenora Polk, and
Yeah,
Gladney.
yeah.
Is that Gladney Lowry? Maybe PhD. Is it Laura Gladney or Gladney Laura? Laurie? Right here. No, see where her finger is.
Gladney. It's a guy. He's a PhD in physicist.
Right.
I want to say, but you know, some of these people you can look up, you know, on the computer. You know,
Right.
you look up,
Yeah, you can
the
Google.
names just pop up. You know?
Right. The names I haven't
But
heard
I
of.
would say I would say if I was going to look up, I would shoot something out in terms of what it is you're doing to Gloria Bozeman.
Okay.
Is her name on here?
That's the top.
Under business.
At the very top.
Oh yeah, I see it.
And I can give you her email. I would say get in touch with her. I would also I would also. I'm trying to think of music now.
I'd like to share this video with her.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. And I would also stay a lot of the athletes. You know, Kellen Winslow and
Brian Cox.
Brian Cox, a lot of those guys. Who they got? Who they got on there?
They still here.
They still around, yeah.
Well,
Eric Wright.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
Eric Wright.
Yeah.
Glenn.
And all these are millionaires.
Yeah. Glenn. All these guys were. I mean, these are some. You know.
okay. Mr. Nave, if we could get those people to sign off on this project.
Yeah, just for if support, if not money.
Right.
They would publicly give us publicity.
Yeah.
That's worth more than money.
Right. That this we could really the idea.
The reason I hate to give out folks' names. You know how they go. But hey, all you gotta do is contact them.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And Billy Lewis knows all these folks. Are you close to him?
No.
How about
You know, I went to East Side,
You went to East Side,
unfortunately.
yeah.
Benny Lewis, his daughter's in the building.
Oh, in your
Yeah.
building?
Paula Lewis.
Oh, I
Carla,
didn't
yeah.
know that. Yeah.
Okay, well, any of them can kind of like, you know,
I'm gonna get a chance to talk to Carla. I can sit down and talk.
Talk to her, yeah.
see any of them. Because once you get one of them, they still in touch with each other.
Mm-hmm. You got a network.
They got a network, you know. One of the things that I've been trying to get somebody to do is to organize the East St. Louis alumni. Like,
Not high school,
not
but
high
East
school.
St. Louis.
I'm talking about East St. Louis. I'm talking about all
alumni.
these people I'm talking about around the country.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I've mentioned that to McHenry a couple of times, and he's saying, "Yeah, but I'm not going to start it." So
Well, it's a
looking
lot
for
of
somebody to
responsibility.
yeah,
You take an organization to do it.
organization.
Yeah.
But I was saying, I say,
That's a
if you
good idea.
if you can get some of these guys to come together, then they can finance their own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if they decide to do that, you know.
Right.
I even talked at one point. I talked to the chancellor up in
Minor.
Minor.
Brother Minor.
I said, look, I said, one of the things we setting up this alumni thing. I said, when I've talked to some of the people, they're nervous about the politics in East St. Louis.
Sir, was you aware of this?
No. She from East St. Louis?
Yeah, that's my sister-in-law.
Oh.
She is the director of the United States Missile and Aerospace Program.
See, greatness comes from. You see, diamonds come from the coal mine, brother.
That cruise missile system that the United States had, she developed that program.
That's what I'm talking about.
Did you know Jerome King?
That's
That name is sure
here
familiar.
across the street.
Across the street.
That's
yeah.
my first cousin.
It's her first cousin.
Oh.
He just moved back here.
Oh, I knew
he
the
was-
Kings, but I didn't know Jerome.
You know, he was with the Environmental Protection Agency in D.C.
Oh, wow.
Just retired.
Wow. East St. Louis.
Just retired.
We got diamonds everywhere.
I mean, just retired. One of the top guys, Environmental Protection Agency.
Wow.
Talking about now. Just retired.
Wow.
Bought the house across the street.
Yeah, I've been over there.
$67,000, really $64,000, something.
That's cheap now.
Yeah.
Wow. That is fantastic.
The also too. Do you know Jackie? Are you close with her at all?
Jackie.
Jackie John.
I know her, but not close. I mean, she's a different generation.
Yeah.
Much different
I
generation.
know Deborah Powell.
Oh, I know Deborah. Yeah, I know
Okay.
Deborah very well.
I'm saying because somebody like Deborah saying to any of these people, "Hey, blah blah blah,"
Yeah.
they'll respond to her.
Yeah, they will. I like that idea about East St. Louis alumni
The alumni.
because that's a national thing. You know, you got them spread everywhere. Wouldn't cost you nothing to belong. All we need is your name and what you're doing now.
And if you get Deborah and all these kind of people together, you know,
Yeah.
everybody else is saying, yeah, oh yeah, well, you know, Jackie and Deborah doing this, and Kellen Winslow saying, well, if she doing this, yeah, I'll, you know, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, right.
And probably if you get 5 or 6 of them, everybody else, you get Harry Edwards got bone cancer.
What now?
Got bone cancer.
Yeah, I think you told me that. Yeah,
But he just finished the keynote speaker at UCLA.
but he's still working.
He's still working. Keynote speaker UCLA. He just finished.
At the Black and White, the last person I talked to was Deborah.
Yeah,
Deborah Powell.
yeah. She came up and spoke to me too because I didn't realize she was there
Right.
until she came
See,
and
that-
touched me on the shoulders.
You pull Deborah in, and Deborah and Jack. I mean, just these kind of people, just for them, and guys like Winslow and them gonna say, well, yeah, if you know, boom, you know, and I mentioned the guy at SIU because he said if they got a problem about handling the money and stuff, I can set up something down there, you know, if you need to. I was telling him, I said, because when I mentioned to them, everybody started talking about, like you were saying, East St. Louis.
Yes,
Corruption.
Right.
corruption.
Because
They do not want to go through politicians. Very good.
But
if you're doing the alumni thing, yeah,
That's
that's your
different,
thing.
right?
okay. Frank, we can approach Deborah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah, that's an easy one.
that's an easy one. That.
Yeah,
And
she's good people.
So,
And she'd be more than willing to help.
share the vision. Yeah, I'm sure the buy-in is there.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah.
So
And if you get to the, if you get Harry Edwards, you know, a lot of sports people. Last time I talked to Harry, he was I guess about 3 of the basketball folks were at his house.
Wow. Now, wasn't he the architect of that protest?
Yeah.
Was it in Mexico?
Yeah.
Was it Mexico City?
he wasn't. That was John Carlos.
Yeah, but he was the architect. He's the one who told him to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In fact, he sent me. I'm not sure where I did it now. He sent me a big.
Biggest protest that happened in the country was that.
Yeah, in Mexico City when they won. They
Right.
held their fists
They held
up.
that fist up.
That's him. That was
Okay.
him. He's the one who started organizing that. And he's got about 3 books out on sports, and you know.
Well, he's a very smart man now.
Oh yeah.
He's always been very smart.
And we talked on the phone quite a bit, and he sent me a vest with the with Carlos and them on the thing.
Yeah,
What the hell that deal? It's just around
Yeah.
something.
that became his trademark.
Thing, yeah. But, they got a whole bunch of stuff with him on that. He's sending stuff back and forth. I sent him some history stuff. So we got back and forth quite a bit. And, but again, same thing. It's just like you got to get it started, you know. And then if somebody
That's
like that
number
can
one.
get it started, then everybody else can say, okay, boom, 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 you know.
That's the thing. Because what I found, the work falls on whoever starts it. So you got to be willing to accept that responsibility because it takes work.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Petty, now we have shared our vision with you of what and it's a bigger vision. Like I said, we were starting with a narrow focus.
Right.
You have kind of expanded our possibilities, and when you bring in the sports people, you know, maybe that's some. We talked to Deborah.
Yeah.
We could let her run that side.
That side of it. Right.
And we would kind of stay with that, but
Mhm.
we can get the art and talent. Talent
Right.
is not only singing and playing, but
Right.
it's also on the field. Yes, sir.
The guy who his wife sings, he plays the piano.
His wife's.
Yeah, he was. I think he was. Was he a band director?
His wife sings.
His
Is he currently doing it or he did
Is it
do it?
Carter? Is it Carter?
Ron
Oh,
Carter.
Ron
Ron
Carter,
Carter.
he just had the heart attack.
He passed.
Okay,
The band director, he had a heart
there
attack
was
and
somebody
passed.
who he was a band director here, but he came. He played, there was a jazz piano thing, and his wife.
Nicholson? When
No, they,
when they had
they were
Nicholson?
they had moved to. I want to say they were teaching at Illinois State or Western. Or, they were teaching.
Yeah.
It had been a band thing here, and he left here and went to Illinois State or Western Illinois.
Was he in the education system?
He was in the education
He
system.
taught band?
He taught band. He taught band. And I'm saying this because we talked to him about a month or so ago, and he's moving back here. I call his name, you know him.
What age group would he be in? Do you know? No, he's not mine.
Because he used to come back. I used to see him a couple of times over at a couple of jazz places in St. Louis. Because he was a piano player. But his wife sings, both of them are kind of like musicians. And he was a band. He was, because I showed him a big picture I had of one of the bands. I got a photograph of one of the bands. Let's see, with the Reginald Carter.
I don't know.
Anyway, he's just moving back because he said he and his wife were moving back. Had retired from the college.
Okay.
Retired, and he was moving back here.
To East St.
This
Louis?
summer. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Petty, what we need you to do is stay healthy,
Yeah.
stay alive,
That's right.
and we hope that you can be what you are, a great resource, and that we hope that you can be
All
a
this stuff is yours.
resource
All this out.
for our project. Yes, sir. And did the things that we advocated, would you